So last weekend I got to take a test drive in a Tesla, and I've had a Nissan Leaf for 3.5 years now. I've done 24,000 miles in it. And I kind of want to do a comparison, not of the Tesla to the Leaf, because it's not a fair comparison. Tesla is just better overall, but really of what electric cars mean and the questions that I've seen pop up around them and how to answer them and look at them. So I'm going to look at four main things. I'm going to look at the economics of it, what charging's like, what range things there are, and just kind of the overall feelings that it has compared to a traditional car. So let's begin by talking about the economics. The Nissan Leaf, when I bought it, cost about $30,000, just a hair over $30,000 brand new. Nissan was nice enough to knock off $7,000 right off the bat. Then I got another $7,500 back from the federal government and another $3,000 back from the state of Maryland, bringing my total purchase price to just under $13,000 for a brand new car out of the door. Pretty exciting. Now, the purchase price is one thing and tax incentives go away, so let's talk about some of the other numbers, because the purchase price is only part of owning any car. You're going to have the maintenance and you're going to have to power it somehow or get it gas. So let's talk about those prices as well. The car that we replaced the Leaf with was getting about 21 miles per gallon. It was significantly better than the Leaf, so it's not exactly a fair comparison, but just as a dollars to dollars kind of comparison, this is what it was. It got 21 miles per gallon, whereas the Leaf gets about 4 miles per kilowatt hour. We have solar panels at our house, so electricity for our entire house for the entire year is about $400. But let's just say we didn't have that. Our average price per kilowatt is about 12 cents, which is pretty close to the national average. And over those last 3.5 years or so, gas has averaged $2.47 per gallon. So all I did was take the numbers from the average for each year and divide it by 4, and boom, $2.47. Now, if we went all gas to go 24,000 miles, which is what we've put on the Leaf so far, it would have cost us just over $2,800 in gasoline to power our old gas car. In comparison, the Leaf cost us $720 to go the same exact distance, a savings of about $2,100. Couple this that we don't have any oil changes, there's really not much to replace because the batteries would need to be replaced eventually, but that's not a big deal. We're concerned for a while. Brakes don't need to be replaced very often because it has regenerative braking, so they barely get used up. And the only fluid that you really put in this thing is windshield washer fluid. We have had to replace tires because there's an alignment issue, and I've replaced windshield wipers and done normal tire rotations. But other than that, which I consider normal maintenance, it's saved us another $300 to $400 just in maintenance savings so far. Let's talk about number 2, the range. And that's one that a lot of people have lots of questions on, because you can always stop at a gas station and fill up your tank in 5 minutes, boom, you're ready to go. That is not exactly the case for electric cars, but it's not far off of that either. And I think the comparison is not entirely fair. When you think about the car that we have, I live about 8 miles from work, my wife lives about 10 miles from work. So round trip, we're doing 20 miles a day. The Leaf has an average rating of about 100 miles, and if it gets cold out, it goes down by a bit. Let's say it takes off 25%, so we're at 75 miles. We're well within that, and we can spend multiple days driving without having to charge the car at all. Now, the Leaf doesn't have what's called active cooling. Basically, the batteries will get hot, and if they're not cooled down, they become less efficient. So when you're traveling on highways, going at quicker speeds where you're using a lot of energy, or when you're using the heater and air conditioner, your range goes down. It's significant in some senses, but not super significant in others, and depends if you have charging options at the end and beginning of your journey. For us, we just charge at our house, and that's all we need. But if you have a workplace that has charger, you could extend your range greatly. The range anxiety thing where you're kind of nervous about not being able to get back home because you won't have a charger, you can run out of charge, it's not that big of a deal. It's definitely persistent and it's there for a little while, and you do have to plan certain trips carefully if you're planning on going with this car. But in all honesty, it hasn't been an issue past the first 3 months. And the main reason we had it for the first 3 months was because we did not have a car charger at our house. We had to plug it into a regular outlet. And that will take us to number 3, charging. Charging can go a lot of different directions. You can plug a car into a regular outlet just like your phone, and it will charge it just like your phone. It's just that the difference between a car's battery and your phone's battery are very, very different. In the case of the Leaf, it takes over a day to go from 0 to full if you're charging with a normal outlet. We did that for about 3 months until we had the solar panels installed and until they were able to install the extra panel for us to hook up the charger. And now we charge at 6.6 kilowatts. So we have a 24 kilowatt battery in our Leaf, which means we're able to charge it in about 4 to 5 hours. It depends on temperature conditions and a couple other things, but really it's able to charge fully from 0 to full in that time period. And we've never really got it down to being 0 ever. Basically what happens is we charge it every other day or so, and when we get home from work, when we're done traveling for the day, we just plug it in, let it charge overnight, and in the morning we unplug it and put it, and it's ready to go. It's pretty easy, and just kind of think about having a gas tank at home. Essentially, we're waking up with a full tank of gas every day, or we could if we wanted to every day. So our car has the full extent of its range available to us every single day without us having to do anything. Because, I mean, in all honesty, the car's sitting not doing anything for the vast majority of the day. Like, these are expensive machines that just sit and look pretty for most of the day. They don't really have to move or do anything. So during that sleeping time when it's not being driven, it can get charged fully up and we're good to go for the next day. Now, if you're out and you find yourself running out of charge, there are a massive network of chargers all over the place. Tesla has their own ones that can't be used by anybody else but Tesla. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones that are available that every electric car can use. So to say that there's not options out there is kind of disingenuous, especially around major metropolitan areas, highway areas. There's just a lot of chargers available all the time. We've never really had to be bothered with not having access to one. Even when I go to IKEA, they have them there and they're easy to use. And in all honesty, most of them are free as well. The one other big benefit with charging is that you usually get a better parking spot. Most places put chargers, electric car chargers, up in the front near the handicap spots. So it's one, mainly because it's a closer run to the store, so they don't have to spend as much money to install it. But you get a better parking spot. So if you like good parking spots, EVs. All right, and then the final thing is overall. Now, while the Leaf is not the world's most advanced or even best electric car, it is fun to drive. It's small, it's tight. When you turn, it turns. When you go, you can go. It really does introduce all of the love of EVs. Having that instant torque available, having no gears to jump through different speeds, so when you hit the gas, you just go. It's like a little go-kart, and it's just a tremendous amount of fun to kind of jump around and go through everything. Once you get used to driving EV, range anxiety goes away, the economics of it makes sense, and it's just a really enjoyable experience overall. For us, we're never really going to go back to gas. We have one gas car, it's a Honda Civic. It gets like 40 miles per gallon on the highway, so that one's a really nice thing, but even still the economics make more sense for electric cars. When you break it down, still save money overall for gas, and if you get a more modern electric car, that savings adds up quite a bit very quickly and will last a long time. Like Tesla's batteries are made to last 300 to 500,000 miles. That's way longer than a normal gas car will ever last you. So there's a lot at play there, and I just really love driving electric cars. It's not anything that I ever planned on really doing, but the economics of it made sense and a purchase price made sense. I mean, under $13,000, I got a brand new car that was all electric, and I couldn't be happier with it. So I've been driving it for about 3.5 years. I love every second of it, and while I don't own a Tesla right now, I do see one sometime in my future. Right now I just have the little Hot Wheels cars, and I'm happy with that. But hopefully one day we'll get some more EVs in my family, and we'll get to enjoy them more. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.